Once again, very good morning to all. Welcome to Durga Soft. I am Shiva Chaitanya. I have 16 years experience in teaching field. I trained thousands of students in Java in my career. So now, in today's class, I will explain what is Java, what is the purpose of Java, and what are the features of Java. So in today's session, I will explain about what is Java, what is the purpose of Java, and what are the features of Java. So our course title is Core Java. Okay. So what is Java? Generally, what is Java? What is Java? This Java is a programming language. What is Java? Java is a programming language. What is Java? Java is a language. It is a programming language. Java is a programming language. So when this language was introduced, this language was officially announced in 1995. This language was officially announced in 1995, and later in 1996 they released the first version of Java. So first they officially announced in 1995, and it was announced by Sun Microsystems company. So this Java software developed by which company? Sun Microsystems company. So what is Java? Java is a language. It is a programming language. When they introduced this Java language in 1995, they introduced this Java language. So this Java language developed by which company? Sun Microsystems company. Okay, so initially it was the product of Java, but later in 2010, this Sun Microsystems acquired by this Sun Microsystems undertaken by Oracle company. Now this Java is the product of Oracle company. Remember this one. So what is Java? It is a programming language. When it is was introduced in the 1995, officially they announced, but first version they released in 1996. So which company developed this Java language? Sun Microsystems company developed this language, this Java language. The Sun Microsystems company was acquired by Oracle company in 2010. So now Java is the product of Oracle company. So who is the father of this Java language? So James Gosling. James Gosling is the father of Java language. So James Gosling and his team, James Gosling and his team developed this Java language. But James Gosling played a major role, leading role in the Java development. So we call James Gosling is the father of Java language. Okay. So just now I explained 3 points. What are those 3 points? Java is a language. It is a programming language. Java is a programming language. When they introduced this language in the 1995, which company introduced this language? Sun Microsystems. So Java initially it was the product of Sun Microsystems, but later this Sun Microsystems was purchased by Oracle company in the 2010. So from 2010 onwards, this Java became the product of Oracle company. Now the Java is product of Oracle company. So who is the father of Java? James Gosling. James Gosling is the father of Java. James Gosling and his team developed this Java language, and James Gosling played leading role in the Java development. So that's why we call James Gosling is the father of Java. Okay. So just now I told that Java is a programming language. To say more clearly, we can say this Java is a general purpose programming language. Java is a general purpose programming language. Listen carefully here. Java is a general purpose programming language. I'm calling Java as the general purpose programming language. According to number of kinds of applications, according to number of kinds of applications, we can divide the languages into two types. According to number of kinds of applications, we can divide the languages into two types. What are those? First one is general purpose programming languages. General purpose programming languages. General purpose programming languages. Second one is specific purpose. Specific purpose programming languages. Specific purpose programming languages. So according to the number of kinds of applications, according to the number of kinds of applications, according to the number of kinds of applications, we can divide the, please all of you be in mute mode. Please all of you be in mute mode. According to the number of kinds of applications, we can divide the programming languages into two types. Those are general purpose programming languages and specific purpose programming languages. So specific purpose programming languages means the name itself indicates specific purpose, means using one language we can develop one kind of application only. Using one language we can develop one kind of application only. We cannot develop many kinds of applications. For example, once upon a time, before C language, we were using languages like Fortran language. Fortran stands for formula translator. Fortran stands for formula translator. Okay. In the 1950s, we were using this language. Okay, this Fortran language, Fortran stands for formula translator. This language was used to develop the scientific applications. So before C language, if you want to develop the scientific applications, we were using Fortran language. So using Fortran language, we can develop only scientific applications. We cannot develop other kinds of applications. So you can say this Fortran is a specific purpose programming language. So like that, COBOL is there. So COBOL stands for Common Business Oriented Language. COBOL stands for Common Business Oriented Language. Okay, using this language, we can develop only business applications. We can develop only business applications. We cannot develop other kinds of applications. Using Fortran language, we can develop only scientific applications, like knowing the report about the weather forecasting is example for scientific application. Okay, satellite communication is example for scientific application. Predicting earthquakes is example for scientific application. So to develop such type of scientific applications, we were using Fortran language once upon a time. Okay, like that, to perform business applications, we were using COBOL language. Like that, to perform mathematical applications, we were using matrix laboratories. Matrix related calculations or mathematical related calculations. For the such type of applications, we were using MATLAB. MATLAB was used to perform mathematical applications. So we can develop only mathematical applications. We cannot develop other kinds of applications. So like this, using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. We cannot develop many kinds of applications. Such type of languages are called what? Specific purpose programming languages. So what are the examples of specific purpose programming languages? Fortran, COBOL, MATLAB, Graphic. Such type of languages are called specific purpose programming languages. Using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. Using Fortran, Fortran stands for formula translator. Using Fortran, we can develop scientific applications only. We cannot develop graphical applications. We cannot develop business applications. We cannot develop mathematical applications using Fortran. Using COBOL, we can develop only business applications. We cannot develop scientific applications or mathematical applications. Using MATLAB, we can develop only mathematical applications. We cannot develop business or scientific applications. Okay, so using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. Such type of languages are called specific purpose programming languages. So before C language, only specific purpose programming languages were there. But see here, for example, as a programmer, if I want to develop scientific application, I use which language? Fortran. If I want to develop business application, which language I have to use? COBOL. If I want to develop mathematical application, which language I have to use? MATLAB. To develop graphical application, which language we have to use? Graphic language. So like this, if as a programmer, I have to develop all these kinds of applications. As a programmer, I have to develop all these four kinds of applications: scientific applications, business applications, mathematical applications, and graphical applications. So to develop all these applications, how many languages we have to learn? How many languages we have to learn? 4 languages we have to learn. So learning one language perfectly is difficult to us. Learning one language perfectly is difficult to us. Like that, we have to learn how many languages? 4 languages. It becomes more difficult to us. So once upon a time, using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. We cannot develop many kinds of applications. If we want to develop many kinds of applications, we have to write programs in many languages. So we have to learn many programming languages. So that is very problematic for us. So from this thought, they invented a language in the 1972. That language is C language. The C language is the general purpose programming language. So general purpose means using one language we can develop many kinds of applications. Using one language we can develop many kinds of applications. We can develop many kinds of applications. Such type of languages are called general purpose programming languages. Using C language, you can develop business applications, you can develop scientific applications, you can develop mathematical applications, and you can also develop graphical applications. So like this, we can develop many kinds of applications by using C language. When this C language was introduced in 1972, so before 1972, what was the situation? Using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. We cannot develop many kinds of applications. So if you want to develop all kinds of applications, we have to learn many programming languages. So that is very difficult to a person. So from this thought, they introduced which language? C language. Using this C language, we can develop business applications, scientific applications, mathematical applications, and graphical applications. We can develop many kinds of applications using the C language. So that's why the C language is called general purpose programming language. So before C language, there is no concept of general purpose programming. Only specific purpose programming language was there. So later C language has some drawbacks. To avoid those drawbacks, they introduced another language, C++ language. Using this also, we can develop business applications, scientific applications, mathematical applications, and graphical applications. The C++ language has also some drawbacks. To avoid those drawbacks, they introduced another language, Java language. See, so what are the examples for general purpose programming languages? C, C++, Java are the general purpose programming languages. So in the 1972, they introduced this C language. C language has some drawbacks. What are those drawbacks? I will explain in further classes. Just to try to understand which language came in which year. So C language has some drawbacks. To avoid those drawbacks, they introduced another language in the 1980s, that is C++ language. The C++ language has also some drawbacks. To avoid those drawbacks, they introduced another language in the 1995, that is Java language. So here, once again, I'm repeating. So what is Java? This Java is the general purpose programming language. Java is the general purpose programming language. This was officially announced in 1995 by Sun Microsystems company. Later, this company was acquired by Oracle company in 2010. Now, Java is the product of Oracle company. James Gosling is the father of Java. So James Gosling and his team developed this Java language. This James Gosling played major role, leading role in the Java development. So he's the father of Java. The general, I'm calling this Java is the general purpose programming language. According to the number of kinds of applications, there are two types of programming languages. First one is general purpose programming language. Second one is specific purpose programming language. Specific purpose programming language means using one language we can develop one kind of application only, like Fortran, COBOL, MATLAB, Graphic. Using one language we can develop one kind of application only. We cannot develop many kinds of applications. Whereas general purpose programming language means using one language we can develop many kinds of applications. Using C language we can develop business applications, scientific applications, mathematical applications, and graphical applications. The C language was introduced in 1972. The C language has some drawbacks, like security problems are there. Okay, it provides less reusability. So to avoid those problems, they introduced C++. This C++ introduced in 1980s. This language has also some drawbacks. So to avoid, here also some security problems are there. So that's why in the 1995 they introduced another secured programming language, that is what? Java language. This Java is the general purpose programming language. C, C++, Java are the examples for general purpose programming languages. Fortran, COBOL, MATLAB, Graphic, these languages are examples for specific purpose programming languages. But listen carefully here. I'm explaining one important point here. Listen carefully. Using C, C++, we can develop business applications, scientific applications, mathematical applications, graphical applications. Okay, all these applications are comes under one category. I'm calling those applications as stand-alone applications. I'm calling those applications as stand-alone applications. Okay, so using C, C++, we can develop only stand-alone applications. Okay, we cannot develop other kinds of applications like web applications are there, mobile applications are there. Web application means website. Can we develop a website by using C or C++? No, we cannot. We cannot develop a website by using C or C++. Can we develop a mobile application using C, C++? No, we cannot. We can develop only standalone applications. Now you may get a doubt. What is standalone application? What is standalone application? So standalone application means an application developed to an application developed to run in one system. An application developed to run in one system is called standalone application. An application developed to run in one system is called standalone application. For example, MS Office. MS Office is example for standalone application. Like that, to edit the photos, we are using Photoshop. To edit the photos, we are using Photoshop. Like that, to watch the movies, we are using media players. To read the PDF files, we are using Acrobat Reader. Okay, all these are what? All these are the standalone applications only. Like that, we are using calculator. That calculator is example for standalone application. Notepad, we are using Notepad. Notepad is example for standalone application. So calculator, Notepad, Acrobat Reader, MS Office, Photoshop, media players, all these are comes under standalone application only. So standalone application means the main intention of standalone application is we want to run in one computer only. We don't want to run on many computers. So each user must install in his machine. That is standalone application. For example, see here. For example, I'm opening Paint. See, listen. For example, this is first person's computer and this one is second person's computer. Okay, so this is first person's computer. So this is person one machine, person one computer. So this is a person two's computer, person two's machine, person two's computer. For example, I want to edit the photos. So person one wants to, for example, person one wants to edit the photos. So person one must install which software? Photoshop. He must install Photoshop. So Photoshop he installed Photoshop in his system. Now he can edit the photos. Now this second person also wants to edit the photos. So but he didn't install Photoshop. Okay, but he wants to edit the photos now. Okay, now can he edit the photos? No, he cannot. This Photoshop is installed in person one's system. If person two wants to edit the photos, this person two must install Photoshop software in his system. I will give another example here. See, for example, this person one wants to watch the movies. So to watch the movies, he is installing one software. He installed one software, VLC Media Player. To watch the movies. Okay, so now person one installed this VLC Media Player in his system. He can watch the movies. Now person two also wants to watch the movies, but he didn't install VLC Media Player. Can he watch the movies? No, he cannot. If he want to watch the movies, he must install Media Player in his system. So this media player installed in person one system. This person one's media player cannot be used by person two. So person two must install media player. Okay, please check your connection. Please check your connection. My internet is okay. My internet is accessing. Please check your connection. Okay. So if this person too wants to watch the machine, wants to watch the movies, he must install what? VLC media player. So this VLC media player installed in one system cannot use it in another system. So here, if first person wants to watch the movies, he must install this media player in his system. If second person wants to watch the movies, he must install this VLC media player software in his system. So this VLC media player software is developed to run in one system. So you cannot run on multiple systems at a time. So for example, I'm installing software in one system. I want to use that software in in many systems. It is not possible by standalone application. So standalone application means what? Standalone application means that is developed to run in one system. Okay, MS Office. If you want to use MS Office, if you want to create the documents or presentations, you must install MS Office in your computer. Otherwise, you cannot do that one. Okay, so that software is developed to run in one system. That is called a standalone application. So I'm installing software in one system. I want to use that software in another system. Is it possible? No, that is not possible. If you want to use, you must install. So that is called standalone. Okay, so for example, I want to use calculator. So to use calculator, I'm opening calculator here. This calculator is a standalone application. Like that, if you want to use the calculator, that calculator must be installed in your system. Otherwise, you cannot use that one. Okay, so the software that is developed to run in one system is called a standalone application. So I'm calling C and C++. Using C++, we can develop standalone applications only. Means the application developed by using C++ can run on one computer only. Okay, we cannot run on many computers. Okay, so we must install in the computer. So such type of applications are called standalone applications. Okay, so using Java, we can develop standalone applications. Not only standalone applications, we can develop web applications also. We can develop web applications also. So I already told this Java is the general purpose programming language. So general purpose means we can develop many kinds of applications. Using Java, we can develop standalone applications as well as we can develop web applications also. We can develop web applications. Web applications. So what is web application? So web application means simply you can say website. So every website is one web application only. So we are using several websites like gmail.com to check our mails. We are using gmail.com. Okay, we are using facebook.com to download the Oracle software. To download the Java software, we are using oracle.com. Okay, like that, our institute website is durgasoft.com. All these are what? These are the examples for web applications only. Okay, so this web application will be installed in web server. This web application will be installed in web server. So that software is installed in server system, but that can be accessed by many clients using browser. Okay, what is browser? Browser means, so to type the URL, you are using what? Browser. So this browser is the user side software used to visit the websites. If you want to visit the websites, we are using one software. That is what? Browser software. Okay, regularly we are using so many browser softwares like Google Chrome is there. Google Chrome is the browser software. Mozilla Firefox is there. That is the browser software. Okay, like that, Opera is there. Netscape Navigator is there. All these are what? Microsoft Internet Explorer is there. All these are what? These are the browsers. So browser is the user side software used to visit the websites. For example, I want to visit the website oracle.com. I want to visit the website oracle.com. So I'm opening Chrome here. I'm opening Chrome. Here we have to type the URL. I am typing the URL as oracle.com. I'm typing the URL as oracle.com. So this is the URL I'm typing in my computer. My computer is client system. In the client system, we are typing the URL, we are typing the website address, where this oracle.com website published in the web server. So where is it? Where is it? In the web server. So in the web server, so now this is what? This is the server. This one is the server. In this server, they published oracle.com software. Oracle.com software, that is the web application. So now this web application can be accessed by the clients. This is client 1. Sorry. So this is client 1 and this one is client 2. This one is client 3. All these are what? These are the clients. These clients can access this software, this web application, by using browser and with the help of network. So this client is sending what? A request. This client is sending a request with the help of URL. And this server is giving response to the requested client. And what this server is doing? This server is sending that web page. Server is sending what? Server is sending web page. See, so here client is sending the request URL. Server is giving the response. Server is giving response as, that is sending what? Web page to us. So now we are the clients. We are typing the website address. That website published in the server. In the server, that transfers web page to us. That web page is called dynamic web page. The dynamic web page will be transferred to us. So where this software installed, that software is installed in remote location, in the remote machine, in the server, that software installed. But I am using that software from here with the help of browser and with the help of network. Okay, see here. For example, here I'm typing the URL oracle.com. This oracle.com software published in the web server. In the client system, I'm typing this URL and I'm pressing enter key. Now it is displaying what? Oracle web page to us. Oracle web page to us. Okay, I want to see the list of Oracle products. I'm clicking on products. So Java is the product of Oracle company. Oracle database management software is the product of Oracle company. MySQL is the product of Oracle company. So I want to download Java software. So I'm clicking on Java here, like this. That displayed another web page. Okay, if you want to download it, you're clicking on download Java. So another web page that is displaying. So server is sending web pages to us. We are watching those web pages with the help of browser, Google Chrome. Okay, so such type of applications are called web applications. So web application means what? The application that is published in web server. The application that is published in web server can be accessed by many clients by using the browser and with the help of network. That application is called web application. Very simple. All the websites are comes under web application only. So what is web application? An application published in server, in remote system, in server, and can be accessed by many clients, can be accessed by many clients, can be accessed by many clients, can be accessed by many clients using browser, through network, using browser through network. So by using the browser with the help of network, we can access the websites. That website is published in the remote location, in the remote machine, in the server that website published, but we can access them with the help of browser and network. Such type of applications are called web applications. The application which is developed to run in one system, if you want to use that software, you must install in your computer. If you want to use MS Office, you must install MS Office in your computer. If you want to edit the photos, you must install Photoshop in your computer. Such type of softwares are called standalone applications. So every user must install in his system. Such type of softwares are called standalone applications. Web applications means websites. Those are published in those are published in server, but those can be accessed by the clients by using the browser with the help of network. Such type of applications are called web applications. I hope you understood. Next, third type of applications. Third type of applications is we can develop we can develop uh, just a minute. We can develop mobile applications. We can develop mobile applications. Using Java, we can develop mobile applications also. So the application that is developed to run in small devices, the application that is developed to run in small devices. What are the examples for small devices? Such as we are using smartphone. I want to run my application in smartphone. So for that, such type of applications are called what? Mobile applications. Okay, I want to run the application in the smart watch. That application is what? Mobile application. I want to run my application in the device TV. That is what? Mobile application. I want to run my application in the personal digital assistant. That is one device, or you can say that as palm top computer. For electricity bill, to generate the electricity bill, electricity department person is using one device, that is called PDA. In the super luxuries, to give the ticket, conductor is using one machine, that is personal digital assistant, PDA. Okay, so these are all small devices like smartphone, smartwatch, TV, personal digital assistant. I want to run my Java application in such type of small devices. Okay, so such type of applications are called what? Mobile applications. Such type of applications are mobile applications. Okay, so we can develop such type of mobile applications also by using the Java. So this is the purpose of Java. Very simple, very easy. See, once again I am repeating till here. Listen carefully. So our course title is Core Java. Okay, so actually what is Java? Java is the programming language. Java is the programming language. To say more clearly, it is the general purpose programming language. Java is the general purpose programming language. When it was introduced in the 1995, when it was introduced in the 1995, it was introduced by which company? Sun Microsystems company. Okay, this latter in the 2010, Oracle company purchased this Sun Microsystems company. So now Java is the product of Oracle company, not Sun Microsystems company. Okay, so who is the father of Java? James Gosling is the father of Java. James Gosling and his team. In his team, several members are there, like Sheridan, okay, Patrick Norton. Okay, like this, several team members are there. But James Gosling played lead role. He played major role. So that's why we call James Gosling is the father of Java. So we are calling Java as the general purpose programming language. According to the number of kinds of applications, there are two types of programming languages. One is specific purpose programming language. Another one is general purpose programming language. Specific purpose programming language means using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. For example, Fortran language. Using Fortran language, we can develop scientific applications only. We cannot develop business, mathematical, or graphical applications using Fortran. Using COBOL, we can develop business applications only. We cannot develop scientific or mathematical or graphical applications. Please be in mute mode. Please, all of you be in mute mode. Somebody unmuted. Please. Excuse me. Please be in mute mode. Okay. So using one language, we can develop one kind of application only. Such type of languages are called specific purpose programming languages. Examples are Fortran, COBOL, MATLAB, and Graphic. So general purpose programming languages means using one language, we can develop many kinds of applications. So using C, C++, we can develop all these kinds of applications. So at that time, we were calling the C, C++ or the general purpose programming languages. But using C, C++, we can develop only standalone applications. Means the software can run on one computer only. We cannot run on many computers by installing in one computer. If you want to run on many computers, you must install the software in all computers. So the software that is developed to run in one computer is called standalone application. So standalone application means the software that is developed to run in one computer. Such type of softwares are called standalone applications. These standalone applications can be also called as desktop applications. We can also call them as desktop applications. So what are the examples? Like MS Office, Photoshop, or media players like VLC media player, Windows media player, Power DVD, Acrobat reader used to read the PDF files, calculator, notepad. Okay, we are using the languages like Java language, C language, C++. Okay, these language softwares also standalone applications only. I am installing Java software in my computer. So can you develop Java program in your computer? No, you must install Java software in your computer. Okay, so such type of applications are called standalone applications. Next one is web application. Web application means website. So these applications are published in remote systems. In the servers, these are published. Those servers are called web servers. So in the web server, website is published. If you want to access, you have to use the browser. In the browser, we are typing the URL, we are typing the website address. So that is sending the request to the server. Server is transferring web page to us. Okay, that web page we are viewing with the help of browser. Please be in mute mode. Okay, please be in mute mode. Somebody unmuted. Rajat Maurya, please be in mute mode. Rajat Maurya. Okay, so using Java, we can develop web applications. Okay, so this web application published in the web server, we can access them we can access them by using the browser through the network. We can access them. So we are sending the request and server is transferring dynamic web page to us. We can view that dynamic web page by using the browser. Such type of applications are called web applications. So installed somewhere, but I can use them. Such type of applications are web applications. Okay, standalone application means install in your system if you want to use them. Such type of softwares are called standalone applications. Mobile applications means the application that is developed to run in mobiles, the application that is developed to run in smartwatch, the application that is developed to run in TV. Such type of applications are called mobile applications. Okay, regularly we are using smartphones. In the smartphones we are using several apps, like we are using WhatsApp. Okay, that is what mobile application. Okay, we are using MyGeo, that is what mobile application. You are using Airtel Thanks, you are using Airtel Thanks app, that is what mobile application. Okay, you are using phone pay, you are using GPay. Such type of softwares are called mobile applications. The applications that are developed to run in small devices like smartphones, tabs, smartwatches, TVs, etc. Those are mobile applications. So using Java, we can develop standalone applications, we can develop web applications, and we can also develop mobile applications. But before Java, we can develop only standalone applications. Okay, we cannot develop web applications. Web applications concept was not there at that time. Okay, so this is the purpose of Java. I hope you understood. I explained very clearly the purpose of Java. Okay, now listen carefully here. Now I'm explaining the parts of Java. What are the parts of Java? So in the Java softwares, see, listen. For example, take Windows operating system. In the Windows operating systems, client operating systems are there and the server operating systems are there. In the Windows operating systems, client operating systems are there and server operating systems are there. Okay, so in the Windows, several versions are there like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. These are what client operating systems. We are using Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10. Those are what client operating systems. Like that, Windows server operating system is there. So Windows Server is used for the servers. Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, those are used for the clients. So like that, in the Java software also some parts are there. So what are the parts of Java? So how many parts are there? Three parts are there. How many parts are there? Three parts are there. What are those three parts? First one is Java SE. First one is Java SE. Java SE. Here SE stands for Standard Edition. SE stands for Standard Edition. So like that, second one is Java EE. This Java EE stands for Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition. So third one is Java ME. Java ME. Java ME. ME stands for Micro Edition. ME stands for Micro Edition. So how many parts are there in Java? Three parts are there. What are those? Java SE, Java EE, and Java ME. So SE stands for Standard Edition, EE stands for Enterprise Edition, ME stands for Micro Edition. So these are three parts. So if you want to practice core Java, or if you want to develop the standalone applications in core Java, you will learn how to develop the standalone applications. So to develop the standalone applications, we are using which edition? Standard Edition. So Java SE is used to develop the standalone applications. So if you want to develop the standalone applications, use the Standard Edition. Okay, so like in the Windows, if you want to make the machine as the server, we are installing Windows Server. If you want to use our system as the client, we are installing Windows Client Operating System. Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 are the client operating systems. Windows Server 2018, Windows Server 2013 system of softwares are the server operating systems. Okay, so if you want to make machine as a server, you are installing server operating system. If you want to make system as the client, you are installing client operating system. Like that, if you want to develop the standalone applications, we have to install Java Standard Edition. If we want to develop the web applications, we have to install second one, Java EE. So Java Enterprise Edition is used to develop the web applications. If you want to develop the web applications, install Java EE in your computer. If you want to develop the mobile applications, use Java ME. Use Java ME. All these softwares are available in the oracle.com. In the oracle.com, these system of softwares are available. See here, Java SE. Java SE means what? Standard Edition. So like that, Java EE is there. EE means Enterprise Edition. Like that, Java ME is there, Micro Edition. If you want to develop standalone application, install Java SE. If you want to develop the web application, install Java EE. If you want to develop mobile application, install Java ME in your computer. That's it. Using Java, we can develop three kinds of applications: standalone applications, web applications, and mobile applications. To develop standalone applications, use Java SE, Java Standard Edition. To develop web applications, use Java EE, Enterprise Edition. To develop the mobile applications, use Java ME, that is Micro Edition. So this is about parts of Java. Parts of Java. Okay. Now I want to talk about. So this is about the purpose of Java and parts of Java. Now I want to talk about what are the features of Java. What are the features of Java? Okay, I'm entering into the subject directly. I'm entering into the subject. Listen carefully here. Each and every clause is very important. Listen. So what are the features of Java? First I write the list. After that I will explain each and every one clearly. Okay. See, this Java is a platform. Java is a platform independent programming language. Java is a platform independent programming language. And this Java is a machine independent programming language. Java is a machine independent programming language. And this Java is a object oriented. You can say this Java is a pure object oriented. Java is a pure object oriented programming language. Java is a pure object oriented programming language. And next one, this Java is a compiled. Java is a compiled and interpreted. Java is a compiled and interpreted programming language. And you can say this is a portable programming language. Java is a portable programming language, and this uh, Java is the simple Java is the simple and familiar programming language. Simple and familiar programming language. And this Java is the robust programming language. Java is a robust programming language. And it is the secured programming language. Java is a secured programming language. It is a secured programming language. It is a dynamic programming language. It is a dynamic programming language. And it is a distributed programming language. And this Java is the multi-threaded programming language. Java is the multi-threaded programming language. And Java has high performance. Java has high performance. Okay, so these are the features of Java. Features of Java. So what are the features of Java? Okay, first one is platform independent programming language. Java is the platform independent programming language. Why? I will explain. Okay, and it is the machine independent programming language. And this Java is the pure object oriented programming language. It is the compiled and interpreted programming language. This Java is the portable programming language. It is the simple and familiar programming language. It is a robust programming language. It is secured programming language. It is dynamic programming language. It is distributed programming language. It is multi-threaded programming language, and it provides high performance. These are the main features of Java. So like this, several features are there. Okay, now in this topic, I discuss only important features. So like the several features are there. See, so among these, what are first two features? First two features are platform independent programming language and machine independent programming language. Due to these two features, Java became so much famous. So first feature is platform independent programming language. Second feature is machine independent programming language. Before Java, means before 1995, only platform dependent programming languages were there. Before Java, only machine dependent programming languages were there. So when Java introduced, this Java is the platform independent and this Java is the machine independent, these two features brought so many changes in the software field. So that's why from the last 25 years, this Java is ruling the industry. From last 2 decades, this Java is ruling the industry because of these two reasons only. One is platform independent programming language, another one is it is the machine independent programming language. These two features are very very important. Before Java, these two features were not there. With the introduction of these two features, okay, this Java became so much famous. Now you have to understand what is platform independent programming language. Okay, now I'm explaining about what is platform dependency and platform independency. See here. So means platform dependency means okay, platform dependent programming languages or example languages are like C language, C++ language, before C language, COBOL language, Fortran language. Such type of languages are called platform dependent programming languages. So simply you can say all the languages, all the languages introduced, all the languages introduced before Java, all the languages introduced before Java means, so all the languages introduced before Java means before 1995, before 1995. So the languages which are introduced before Java are called platform dependent programming languages. Example C, C++, COBOL, Fortran, these are called platform dependent programming languages. So what are platform independent programming languages? So platform independent programming languages means okay, all the languages which are introduced after Java, after Java, after Java, including Java. So Java is also platform independent, Java, including Java. So all the languages introduced after Java, including Java, are called platform independent programming languages. What are the examples? So Java is the platform independent programming language. Okay, so like that, C#.NET is there. C#.NET is the .NET language. Okay, there is a platform independent language. Okay, VB.NET is there. This VB.NET is the platform independent language. All the .NET languages are platform independent languages. Like that, Python is there. Python is the platform independent programming language. Java is the platform independent programming language. Okay, so what are the examples of platform independent programming languages? Java, C#.NET, VB.NET, Python. These are the platform independent programming languages. What are the platform dependent programming languages? C, C++, COBOL, Fortran. These are called platform dependent programming languages. So here the important point is platform. Platform means operating system plus microprocessor. Operating system plus microprocessor. Combination of operating systems and microprocessors. Combination of operating system and microprocessor is called what? Platform. So platform means that is operating system plus microprocessor. Combination of operating system and microprocessor is called platform. So what is operating system? Operating system is, what are the examples for operating systems? Like Windows operating system. In the Windows, several versions are there, like Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows XP. Okay, Linux is the operating system. Unix is the operating system. Okay, Mac is the operating system. Okay, like this, several operating systems are there. So what are the examples for microprocessors? So for the microprocessor, examples are Intel microprocessor, like that Celeron microprocessor is there, AMD microprocessor is there, like this several microprocessors are there. Okay, remember one point. 8086 is the architecture. 8086 is the architecture. Okay. See, uh, so operating system, what are the examples for operating system? Like Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac are the operating systems. For the microprocessor, what are the examples? Intel, Celeron, AMD. These are the examples for microprocessors. So listen, one important point. Each and every operating system has its own language. Each and every operating system has its own language, and each and every microprocessor has. Each and every microprocessor has. See, somebody is asking, does Windows have .NET? Okay, see here. So that the .NET is one software. The .NET is one software. If you want to develop the .NET applications, you can install that one. So like Java, .NET is also one software. If you want to develop the mobile applications, web applications, or these standalone applications, you can use .NET software. That is the competitor for the Java. So Java is the product of Oracle company, and .NET is the product of Microsoft company. So that is a competitor for the Java. Okay. So here, each and every operating system has its own language. Each and every operating system has its own language, and each and every microprocessor has also its own language. It means the language which can be understood by Windows 10 may not be understood by Linux or Unix or Mac. The language which can be understood by Mac may not be understood by Windows 10 or Linux or Unix. Okay, so like that, the language which can be understood by Intel may not be understood by Celeron or AMD. The language which can be understood by Celeron may not be understood by Intel or AMD. So each and every operating system has its own language, and each and every microprocessor has its own language. I hope you understood. Operating system has its own language, and a microprocessor has its own language. Okay, now see, what are the examples for platform dependent programming language? C, C++, COBOL, Fortran. So most of you already know about C language. So I'm taking the example of C here. Okay, or see, now see the execution process of a C program. See the execution process of a C program. Execution process of a C program. See here. See, I'm opening the image here. So C program execution. Observe here. Okay. Now observe carefully. So here, so just I will explain about what is platform dependency. After that, I stop the session. So tomorrow I will explain what is platform independency. So try to understand. I want to explain more clearly about platform dependency and platform independency. Try to understand. So here I'm writing a C program. Here I'm writing a C program. Okay. So the code which is written in the language editor is called what? Source code. So we are writing the program. That code is called source code. I am storing this source code in one particular file. I am storing this source code in one particular file. I am giving that file name as hello. And .c is the extension of C program. So file name I am giving as hello. .c is the extension of C program. So for the CPP program, .cpp is the extension. For the Java program, .java is the extension. For the paint image, .bmp is the extension. For the images, regularly we use the extension like .jpg. Okay, for the songs, .mp3 is the extension. Okay, for the movies, .mp4, .3gp, those are called extensions. To identify the type of file, we use the extensions. So similarly, to identify the C file, what is the extension here? .c. So I am writing some code. That code is called source code. That code is called source code. I am storing that code by using one name, that is hello.c. So now this is in high level language. Computer cannot understand this one. So we are writing this code, we can understand. Computer cannot understand. So we have to convert this high level code to the low level code. So to compile this program in the Windows operating system, generally what we use? Alt F9 key. In the Windows operating system, we use Alt F9 key for compiling. So when you press Alt F9 key, this source code will be translated to the machine code, and some preprocessor directives will be stored as it is. So when we compile the program, a new file will be created. When we compile the C program, a new file will be created with the same name of the program file name, that is hello, that gives extension as .obj. So this file is called object file. So when we compile the C program, object file will be created. What an object file contains? Object file contains machine code plus preprocessor directives. Preprocessor directives means you are writing hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h in the C language. Those are called preprocessor directives. Those preprocessor directives are stored as it is, but remaining code will be translated into the machine code that will be placed here. So that machine code plus preprocessor directives code will be stored in this file, that is object file. Okay, means this is semi-finished machine code. Okay, now I want to convert this preprocessor directives code to the machine code. So I want to run this program now. So to run this program, which key we have to press? Control F9. So when we press Control F9, hash include stdio.h means stdio header file has some code. For example, 200 lines, 300 lines code is there in stdio header file. That code will be translated into the machine code, and that code will be placed in this file. Once again, I'm repeating. Preprocessor directive means, for example, you are writing hash include stdio.h. Hash include stdio.h, we are calling that as a preprocessor directive. So stdio is the header file. That header file has 200 lines or 300 lines code. That code will be translated into the machine code, and that code will be placed in this file. That file is called exe file. So exe file has a machine code plus this preprocessor directives machine code. So complete machine code will be there in the exe file. So this exe file has a complete machine code, whereas this object file has semi-finished machine code because preprocessor directives are stored as this. So this is the execution process of a C program. Now this exe file has machine code. This machine code can be also called as native code. That is operating system's language. So this system has Windows 10. So here this is Windows 10's mission code. Okay, so Windows 10's mission code can be understood by Windows 10. So that operating system displays output to us. That is the execution process of a C program. Once again, I am repeating. Here we are writing the C program that is called source code. We are storing in one particular file, hello.c. This is in high level language. Computer cannot understand this one. So we are compiling that one by pressing Alt F9. Now object file will be created. In that mission code and preprocessor directives code will be stored. To run this object file, we are pressing Control F9. That translates this preprocessor directives code to the mission code, and that mission code will be placed. So that existing mission code and preprocessor directives mission code will be placed in one particular file. That file is called exe file. So this exe file has complete mission code which can be understood by the operating system. This is operating system's language. So operating system displays output to us. That is the execution process of a C program. Now, this C program developed in this computer. This computer has Windows 10. I want to run the same application. I want to run this software. This is the software developed in Windows 10 operating system. In this system, this software is developed. I want to run this software in another system. This is another system. In this system, I want to run this application. So for that, just simply place this exe file in this system. Now, can we run this application in this system? Means we can run, because this system has Windows 10 operating system. So same operating system is there. So this exe file has Windows 10's mission code. Windows 10's mission code can be understood by Windows 10. So here, this exe file has Windows 10's mission code. Windows 10's mission code can be understood by Windows 10. So we can run in this computer also. But the same application, I want to run in another computer which has Linux. Okay, if you want to run like that, if you place this exe file in this computer, this exe file has Windows 10 native code, Windows 10's mission code. So this Windows 10's mission code cannot be understood by the Linux. So this language cannot be understood by Linux. So you cannot run. So automatically this exe file mission code is depending on operating system here. So that's why we are calling this C application is the platform dependent. C language is the platform dependent programming language. Okay, I will show it practically. See here. I want to write one C program. I'm opening C editor here. I'm opening C editor. Observe carefully. I want to write a new program. So here I'm writing a new program. I'm writing the preprocessor directive hash include stdio.h or wide main. This is a C program. For your understanding purpose, I'm writing this one. Even if you don't know C language, no problem at all. Okay, I want to print hello on output screen, so I'm writing this code. So here, how many lines code we have written? 4 lines code. This printf function defined in stdio header file. So I'm writing hash include stdio.h here. So now this is called source code. This is called source code. I am saving this. I am saving this program in the bin directory. In the C turbo C3 folder, in the bin folder, I'm storing this with the name hello.c. Hello.c. So this program is successfully stored. Okay. Now observe here. Observe. So we stored our program in the C drive. In the turbo C3 bin folder is there. In the bin folder, we saved our program. So this is the program just now we have created 29.6 today. Just now we have created. So this program has what? Source code. So this is the source code. Computer cannot understand this one. So we have to compile this. Now observe carefully here. When we compile, what will happen here? Source folder is there. What will happen in the source folder? Observe here. I'm removing all these files. Now that source folder is empty. Observe. I am pressing Alt F9. What happened here? See the back here. Hello object file created. So when we compile the C program, object file will be created. So here, how many lines it compiled? 312 lines. Just we have written 4 or 5 lines, but that is displaying lines compiled as 312. Means, what is the meaning of this one? Here we have written only 4 lines, but that is displaying 312 lines. So other 308 lines attached from this stdio header file. So that stdio header file's code plus this our code is translated and that places that in the object file. Okay. So next I want to run this program. So to run this program, I am pressing Control F9. So when we press Control F9, what will happen in the back? Observe, another file will be created. Observe here, when I press Control F9 here, another file is created. In the back, another file is created. In the back, another file is created. Observe here. So another file is created with the name hello. So what is this one? This is the exe file. Observe the type. Observe the sorry properties. So what is this one? This is the exe file. Now exe file is created. So what if this exe file has? It has machine code which can be understood by my operating system, which can be understood by Windows 10. Okay, so when you press Alt F5, the displays output to us. That is displaying output as hello. So this is the execution process of a C program. So when we compile the program, object file will be created. When we run the program, exe file will be created. So that is the execution process of a C program. See, so this is source code. When we compile it, object file is created. That object file has machine code plus preprocessor directives code. And when we press Control F9, exe file is created. That exe file has operating system's language, operating system's machine code. Okay, we can run this exe file on same operating system because this Windows 10's language can be understood by Windows 10. But Windows 10's language cannot understood by Linux, so you cannot run on Linux system. So that's why I'm calling the C language is the operating system dependent and microprocessor dependent. Combination of operating system and microprocessor is called platform. So platform means that is combination of operating system and microprocessor. Each and every operating system has its own language and each and every microprocessor has its own language. So now I'm stopping the session here. The time is 9:15. Our class timings are 8 to 8 to 9:15. So daily I will take class for 1 hour 15 minutes. Yes, I will cover Java 8 features also, no problem. Somebody is asking, will you cover Java 8 features? Yes, I will cover Java 8 features also. So from 8 to 9:15 a.m. these are our batch timings. Our course title is Core Java. So syllabus is available on Durgasoft website. You can see the syllabus. Okay. Now I'm stopping the session. So somebody is asking about notes. Somebody is asking about notes. Oh, just a minute. Okay. So I will send after completion of your registration process, I will send PDF notes to our online team. Those our Durgasoft online team will send PDF notes to you. No problem at all. So every week, every weekend, you will get the notes. Do we need to download Java SE? Yes, you have to download the Java SE. Okay, Java SE, Java SE. It's better to download 8 version. It's better to download 8 version. Current version is Java 14. How to download, I will explain in the next class. In the further classes, I will explain how to install the Java. Okay, shall I stop the session? If you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, notes I will send. Notes I will send after completion of your registration process. I will send notes to you. I will send notes to you. Don't bother about it. Okay, so every week I will send notes. See here. So here, this is a PDF file. This is the notes. This is the nodes, core Java nodes. So like this, I will send a nodes to you. What is platform dependency? What is platform independency? Okay. So what is mission dependency? What is mission independency? What are the different programming approaches are there? OOPS concepts. Okay. What are the features of Java? Okay. Or differences between C and Java, C++ and Java. Okay. Structure of C program. Okay. Like this. Okay. I will send each and every topic to you. So this PDF file, I will send it to your mail. Our Durga Software online team will send this PDF file to you. Okay. Don't bother about the notes. We will send PDF notes after completion of your registration process. Means in the next week. In the next week, I will send notes to you. Okay. Every week, I will send that week notes to you. Is it clear? Okay. I'm stopping the session now. Okay, tomorrow also same timings. Okay, 8 to 9:15. I take the class. Okay, our timings are 8 to 9:15 daily morning, 8 to 9:15. Okay. Yes. I'm stopping the session. Thanks to all. See you tomorrow.